What's up, peers, and welcome to the World Crypto Network here back at the Unchain Convention in Berlin at the beautiful Wood Market, great venue here right at the Spree River. And I'm joined here by Jeff. What are you doing? How are you, my friend?
Good, how are you?
Well, fantastic.
Great seeing you again. I think last time we met in Riga for the Baltic Honeybadger, at least on camera.
On camera, right. That was, yes, you introduced, I think, the first Lightning Hackday. Was it the second?
It was actually the fourth, the one in New York.
Oh, right, the one in New York was...
And we did 3 before in Berlin.
Right, yes. But you also showed the Raspberry Blitz back then.
Yes, we had a little... well, it's pretty much still the same. Like this full Bitcoin and Lightning node on the Raspberry Pi, which is easy to build for everyone at home.
Perfect.
Build your own little Lightning and Bitcoin bank.
That's how it's supposed to be, right?
No, it's that project is also developed nicely. I think we're at version 1.2 now, and
perfect.
It's getting better, more features, more contributors.
Yes. Yes.
It's a nice little project.
Yes, it really is, and it has grown quite a lot, right? Starting from just the written guide from Staticus, and then more and more being developed, like with software, with packages, and now many people are running one, and you see it all over the place, right? Many services, like I know Satoshi's Place was running Raspberry Blitz, I think the Poyo feed as well. So many of these known.
Are they actually running Raspberry Blitzes or just a Raspberry Pi?
I do believe it's Raspberry Blitz, but I'm not certain.
I'm not sure. Actually, that would be cool.
No, it really is a great project. So, then other than the great development of the Raspberry Blitz, what have you been up to the last year? I mean, a lot has happened.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, we've been focusing on mostly still the Lightning Hackdays. So, after Riga, after the Baltic Honeybadger, we did the Lightning Hackday in New York on Wall Street, next to the Charging Bull and Reckless Girl. And that was a great success. So it was pretty cool to take the whole format to the US and make it a little bit more international and see a different crowd. And then we had another Lightning Hackday, the one in Munich, which you attended as well.
Yes.
It was just a couple of weeks ago, which was probably the biggest one so far, and I guess also from a social media impact sort of thing, because we had this beautiful beer tap, which is Lightning enabled, and you just have your Lightning invoice and you pay for it, and the beer flows. Well, it was kind of
fast.
People couldn't really pour it though, so you got a lot of foam.
Yeah, it was too fast.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, because the confirmation of the payment was also very fast. So when people scanned the QR code and pressed send, sometimes it was very within a fraction of a second, the beer started flowing. So I saw many times that people scanned it, did not yet hold the glass back, then they were surprised at how fast Lightning actually is, and the beer was already pouring out. And then
you get a lot of foam, and you got some FOMO. Oh, FOMO.
Oh, horrible.
Oh, and so also those are just kind of the things that got a little popular, but of course we got the coffee situation set up, and we could buy a lot of coffee for
all
Lightning.
The coffee. Yeah.
And so there were two nice little videos about that. One coffee payment route actually takes 20 seconds to confirm for a final settled global microtransaction, if you will. So that was quite the ruckus that it took so long.
Yes, what is that?
Just imagine
ridiculous.
20 seconds for immutable, uncensorable payments.
Well, I think that one was with Blue Wallet.
Yeah, well,
right. So it's custodial, so it's censorable.
But from the sender point of view. But I mean, it was a proper payment that was sent out.
Exactly.
So I mean, it went on. It wasn't a Blue Wallet to a Blue Wallet payment, and it was completely
a Lightning payment. Yeah.
Off-chain. So it went to the BTC Pay server we had set up for the coffee vendor, and so the first one took 20 seconds. I'm talking about the one that Peter McCormick filmed, and he got a lot of heat for that, especially on Reddit. It's like, hey, this is taking forever. And the next day he did one, and it only took 3 or 4 or 5 seconds, and the same setup. And I think it's pretty cool that he actually he took the first shot. He didn't try to fake anything, and this is also something that I think is becoming a thing. People looking at the broader picture a little bit. We see a lot of development on the Lightning Network, but we also see some limitations on the thing. Nobody tries to sugarcoat it as like, hey, this is not a problem. And it was just, I mean, yeah, it takes 20 seconds and there's reasons for that and people discuss the reasons and maybe or possibly you can make it faster. And we've seen it a lot faster in many instances. But also it's like, this is just a reality and we have to work with it and it will iterate and will evolve. And that's also one of the things I got from the Lightning Hackday is a lot of people are thinking about a lot of issues and how to like bring the whole project forward and how to improve it. And one of the great things that was, I mean, they did a pretty nice job presenting it as well. So they built like Stepan and his team. They went out one day. They bought like a big bag of Lego, and they built a physical Euro candy disposal machine. They called it a Lightning ATM, but you had like little pieces of chocolate that are branded as like Euro notes, and so you can pay those with Lightning, and it like dispenses them, and you get some chocolate. But the thing is that he actually prototyped an offline payment situation. So this machine doesn't have to be online to receive Lightning payments, so, which I thought was this was the first prototype. He's been talking and thinking about it for a while, but so it actually like it's kind of amazing to see how much stuff was happening. And then at the same Hackday, Christian and Stepan talked about it earlier. You have like these Insta sense, or how do you call it, like spontaneous payments?
Spontaneous
payments.
That's actually the underlying technology that made the ATM work. Was Stepan invented this very brilliant way of doing spontaneous payments in order to get that ATM working.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around. It was an outcome because like he had set up this the way it works. It needed a little tweak on Eclair's side, and one of the engineers from Eclair was there, and so they opened the wallet a little bit to be able to scan the pre-image to prove that you paid. And I'm not quite sure. I haven't talked to Stepan about it in detail yet, but then like the spontaneous payment kind of evolved from that. And Christian Becker later implemented it relatively quick. In like 30 minutes he had it implemented with a plugin into the C Lightning architecture. Is great. And so now you can use it. And it actually works. So you can send a payment to a Lightning node without communicating with them first to get the invoice with the hash. You use some extra data in the onion layer to then do like Diffie-Hellman key exchange magic to generate the secret for the other party, and then you hash that secret twice, and with some magic then it all works out. But it works, and it's a very ingenious way of doing it. And again, it proves that at these Lightning Hackdays, not just do we spend a lot of Bitcoin over Lightning to buy coffee, but also we actually work on this stuff and really make great leaps forward. Yeah, that was pretty amazing. I don't think like that in that regard was the biggest and best Hackday so far. Yeah, and you know, just for the ATM, like the Lego construction alone was mind-blowing. I have no clue how they figured that out. But it worked. It was like very nice and compact. Looked pretty cool. They even had a proper designer to do the little designs for Jankowski or Bitjankowski, the Apex Predator. Great designer. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, fantastic. And we found some statistics on how many Lightning payments were made. Yeah. How much was it? I think we sold like 120 tickets roughly over the Lightning Network for tickets. There were 355 coffee payments and 199 beer payments, and there was gin sold over the Lightning Network. I don't have their statistics actually. So all in all, there were a good amount of payments. And the funny thing was that we had free beer as well. So you could just go to the fridge and get a beer. but people were lining up to actually like, hey, I want to pay for my beer with Lightning. I mean, it was 21 Swiss franc, Swiss raps or cents or whatever. Well, it was 10,000 satoshis, right? The coffee was 10,000 satoshis. Yeah. But I think it was 21. Right. Yeah. Swiss franc cents. Yeah, but 21, you get it? Yeah, but I thought about that. For the coffee, it was always 10,000 satoshis, and I was scrolling through my Eclair wallet just to see. Oh God, I drank so much coffee. And I spent so many times 10,000 satoshis, and it's like the Bitcoin pizza of days old, right? Where you buy pizza for 10,000 Bitcoin, and now that sounds ridiculous.
And then when we talk to our grandchildren, be like, yeah, we spent 10,000 satoshis on espresso. That was pretty stupid.
Oh no, it's not stupid. It's early adoption. It's like making it possible, right. And that's the same thing with the pizza guy, or like all the people. I think he doesn't have any regrets really. No. But also sometimes people do have regrets about spending Bitcoin early. I mean, right now we're in Berlin. We have Room 77 here, which is the longest Bitcoin accepting place in the world. They've been accepting Bitcoin for 8 years. So apparently people have bought beer and burgers there for like, let's say, a whole Bitcoin. And sometimes some of these people get interviewed and sometimes they're a little bit regretful, which I don't understand, because they are pioneers. They should be proud. I mean, they were the ones spending Bitcoin when everybody else was like still using euro.
Yep.
And you got to start somewhere, and it's the same again.
Exactly.
I mean, I totally get like the whole stacking sets and Nodl thing, just that you want to Gresham's law, you know, you want to keep as much of the good money and spend as much of the bad money, but you kind of still have to use it, because if you don't use them, you won't build infrastructure, you won't onboard merchants, like all this stuff. Like you wouldn't need BTC Pay server if you, so and all this stuff that's being built out. You wouldn't need it if nobody would spend it. So
exactly. And I like to look at
sets, stacking sets,
do all
good,
of it. Yeah. No, but I like to look at it from the other side. I don't see Laszlo spending 10,000 Bitcoin. I see a brilliant entrepreneur selling pizza and earning 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas. I mean, that is the real hero here. Not the one, like, of course, spending, as you say, is very important as well, absolutely, but the entrepreneur actually making a profit calculated in Bitcoin is fantastic, because that really shows that you can earn Bitcoin and that you can receive censorship-resistant money, which is quite breathtaking. It's really awesome.
It is. I mean, you know the whole story, right? How it worked with the pizza.
Well,
I mean, he didn't.
The middleman.
It was basically a middleman who used his credit card to pay for the pizza. But I mean, he still bought. It still worked, and it's
still a great entrepreneur.
History. And I think if you look at the history closely, the pizza sometimes is like, it wasn't really the first deal, like the first real life deal. There were people selling stuff on Bitcoin Talk before that, but it's the coolest deal, and it's become like the one epic thing, the Bitcoin 10,000 Bitcoin pizza.
Perfect. Outstanding. And so you've now seen from the Lightning Hackday, like from the very first day, like there were some projects there that were developed on, that started there, that now turned into really big projects that really solve a lot of major problems for users. So what are some of these projects that quote unquote started at the Lightning Hackday?
Well, definitely Raspberry Blitz. That's like the one that we at the first Hackday we tried to figure out how to onboard users in a relatively quick and painless way. So the first one I was still peeping, like we just kind of helped people setting up nodes and downloading blockchain, and this was it took a while and all day pretty much. So mostly Christian was like, yeah, we should probably put this on the Raspberry Pi, and it kind of evolved and got bigger and bigger, and now that's this whole open source project where you can have a bunch of contributors and people building on the Raspberry Blitz who have crypto cloaks from the S, and they are building pretty cool cases for the Raspberry Blitz. And I think they're also, he announced it a couple of weeks ago that they are also going to build an open source basic case, so which is printable for everyone. And then they have, like, if you want to have the premium cases, you kind of have to buy them, but they're pretty cool design. I got one of those glow in the dark cases for myself actually, and so now it's like this is the real cyberpunk case.
Yes. Right, and to print your own 3D case, to hold your own self-hosted Lightning node, it's fantastic. I mean, hopefully soon we can print the computer boards itself. That would be fantastic, but I don't. Maybe.
It's going to take some time, but we get there.
2 weeks. Some brilliant Bitcoin entrepreneur will figure it out to make it all happen. Yeah. Hopefully. What are some other projects?
So what happens is people come back over time. So one I have at the top of my head right now is from Quinton. He did a Lightning lottery. We used that at the Munich Hackday to do a lottery for a Nodl. And he started with that project, I think, at the last Hackday in Berlin. And people just kind of have their ideas, they use the time to build on it, and then they go back to like real life and they don't really find the time, and then they take another week off for the next Hackday and they continue on the project after that. Or Another one who's been greatly evolving is BTC Socialist, who's now he's doing his own show now. He's looking into IoT and Bitcoin and the connections. It's like hashtag BTC IO2. He has his own channel doing a lot of hardware tinkering, building these what are called ESP32.
The Arduino boards. Yeah.
To just sort of as a really cheap and easy to use interface for machine payments. He hack arcades and.
He actually, so he had a bunch of the cool stuff at the Hackday at the table, but I think the most awesome thing was this old big arcade that was running a game that was developed in like 1993 called Tron, and the lead developer to this game was actually Hal Finney.
Oh really?
Yes.
Yes. Oh,
so Hal Finney was a game programmer before.
Okay.
And they were, so in the game actually there is a electronic money. And like the goal of the game evolves, like collecting money and earning it and spending it again. So already back then he had like this concept and was tinkering on how can we get this all to work. And so now Ben put this like the old cartridge into this arcade, and he has hooked it up with a little paper display that shows a Lightning Network QR code that you then can pay, and for I don't know 5,000 satoshis or so, you can play one round of the game. Which is fantastic. So now we can play a game from Hal Finney and pay for it with Lightning, which is outstanding.
Yeah, I mean the stuff he's doing is just incredible, and it's quite exciting to see. Like every time he comes back, he has like more new and better stuff, and you can just like, whoa, it's okay. He also built this little, just a really tiny, cheap POS terminal, like a hardware terminal. You just enter the amount of whatever you want to have, and it gives you Lightning invoice, and you pay it, and it's really minimalistic, but it works rather well. I mean, it's doing some great prototyping. It's pretty exciting, and it's also nice to look at. It's just cool, like you always have this moment when I think like the first moment for me was when you could actually pay for burgers and beer with Bitcoin. Back in the day when you still did on-chain.
Oh, the old days.
And that kind of took everything from the digital world into the physical world. And it still happens. I mean, you still meet people in room 77 who's like, yeah, I've never really used Bitcoin before for anything. And they're like, but now I can pay for my beer. And so this is kind of happening again, but this time it's like, you take physical hardware and connect it to the Lightning Network, and somehow makes this touchable and feasible in real life, and it's more of a physical, sensational experience rather than just sitting in front of your monitor.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, and I think like the best example for this was the beer tap, right? You pay, it's there, and the machine gives you beer, and it only gives you beer when you pay the machine, right? It's crazy to have. There wasn't even a person like standing there giving you the beer. It's just like you pay the machine and you get beer.
There's a group working on, so this might be something. I personally hope they'll have it ready by the Lightning conference, which we're starting to set up right now, which also kind of evolved from different events, but it will be heavily influenced by the Lightning Hackday as well. And they're working on a cocktail machine that's of course hooked up to Lightning, so you can. They probably you pay. You get cocktails mixed, like a cocktail robot machine thing. Some people have seen, you've probably heard about it before. I mean, but now it's also connected to Lightning, and it's just pretty cool.
Fantastic.
Promise.
But kind of
gonna look good.
but kind of dangerous to make drinking so much fun, because I think that's gonna end.
You're giving a lot of people excuse to like, no.
Get wrecked. Yes, so you mentioned the Lightning conference. So this really is like this behemoth like conclusion of all different projects here into this one conference to really celebrate what we've built over the last 2 years.
You're really setting the expectations low here.
Oh yeah, you have to perform. I mean, look at how awesome the Lightning Hackdays is, and these are Hackdays, right? That's like pizza and beer. Now we have a Lightning conference, right? And that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, but we have to see if we can. I hope we can do this transition. I mean, the Hackdays work because we have a lot of people that are really passionate, and they put a lot of themselves into the Hackdays, and I hope we can replicate that with the conference and make it as open and as accessible and as fun as possible, while still creating a platform for the whole global Lightning community to come together for a proper conference and talk and network and hear talks and educate themselves. So I hope it's going to be a good amalgam of both, like a good mixture of both the hacking and the traditional conference stuff. But it's but it's pretty cool because Lightning Labs is coming, Blockstream is coming, Async is coming, and more and more projects are like saying, hey, we want to be part of this. And so right now we're in the process of setting everything up, getting all the forces together, all the volunteers. There's a date already, so it's October 19th, 20th. That's one of the dates where everybody can come, who I just mentioned. And right now we're shopping around in Berlin for a venue. So like once this is live, you will probably already have a venue.
Perfect, fantastic. So back here in Berlin.
Then, like, what's that?
Back here in Berlin.
Yeah, it's going to be in Berlin. Yeah, I mean Berlin is still the hottest. I think the hotspot for Bitcoin, and so much has happened here in regards to Bitcoin. So many milestones have been reached here. In regards to Bitcoin and Lightning, we have like the longest running meetup, continuously running meetup as well. If you're from New Hampshire, you might disagree, but we have the place in the world, the Room 77, which has been accepting Bitcoin as a real life brick and mortar store the longest. We had the first real life beer payment for Lightning at Room 77. It was still testnet, but it was
outrageous.
Yeah,
exchange fake Bitcoin for good beer. No, that's an odd trade.
And yeah, so we have all these great things happening. So it's kind of cool to also get back or continue this development and still having Berlin as a relevant part, not only for the whole blockchain thing, which has, I mean, it's a pretty important city for what?
For databases.
For whatever, yeah. But also like to make Bitcoin and Lightning more relevant in the city again. And,
exactly.
Yeah, and we've been talking about another little project next to the Lightning conference, and that is also trying to take the BitDev format from New York, and I think they also have it in Boston now and San Francisco, like this Socratic seminar where people meet up and talk about the latest technical developments and putting it up in Berlin again. So that should also start rather soon, and then we'll not only have a meetup where you can drink beer, but we also have a meetup where you can learn new stuff, because just so much is happening, and people I see like people are really curious, but sometimes it's really hard to keep up. It's like, just like what happened now, like you actually explained this spontaneous payments to me, because like that was just like 2 weeks ago, and it's like real life happens as well, so you can't like spend all day to reading up on that stuff.
What do you mean real life? No, Bitcoin is everything. Like there's nothing else. You should know that.
I'm with you, but sometimes you have to sleep.
That's
sometimes
overrated.
You have to like put gas in your car, buy food, that kind of real life stuff. And
well, I'm sure we will have onion delivered or drone delivered packages of food where you pay with Lightning to open the box of the drone. That stuff will come.
Will, but in the meantime, I still have to eat.
2 weeks. Come on, fast for 2 weeks, and then we have that.
Is that a promise?
Yes, a very heartfelt one.
So Berlin is still relevant, and I'm super happy that the Lightning conference is happening in Berlin, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely worth it. And so there's this fine line between having a very technical event where we really like hack on the code and develop it and think on the really low level ideas, or then to have a very approachable educational forum, right, where the future coiners, as you like to call them.
Is it just me? I thought it was like the thing you call them now, future coiners.
No, I think future coiners is pretty good, but I think you're the first one I heard it say.
Okay, I stole it from somebody. but okay, sure.
Yeah, I would say no coiners are those that like have learned some about Bitcoin and still vehemently disagree with it. But then future coiners are just those that don't really care about Bitcoin. And
yeah, it's like the difference between being agnostic and an atheist. Like, I think like, is that comparable, or just a heathen and an atheist?
Yeah, probably.
But heathen, I would say agnostic and atheist. So future coiner and no coiner.
Yeah.
But most people are future coiners. So
Yeah.
we live in a world of future coiners, and there's only very little no coiners.
Yeah, very true, very true. And the little no coiners, they can stay in the fiat world as long as we and the future coiners are already in here. That's perfect. But yeah, where do you see the nuances here in having technical development meetups and educational onboarding events?
I think it's pretty important to lay a good foundation right now especially for future Lightning development. So I'm personally not too concerned about onboarding mainstream adoption for the time being, because we need to have a strong foundation, a good community, knowledgeable community, dedicated community. Because after all, like it's still also a social construct or social building, and it's really like all these personal connections and relationships. They don't necessarily have to be in person, but also online. It's important to have that and to make it last, And I think that's also important for the long-term success, because you do have this on top of like the technological or monetary network. You have a social network, and
Facebook coin, right?
But I mean, like a real life, like a traditional social network, Just
the meat space one.
People talking to each other and exchanging ideas but in like good faith and with an open mind and healthy discussion. As long as they're future coiners or Bitcoiners and not no coiners.
Yeah, great. So I think the Lightning Hackdays were really to like build the groundwork, because I mean, without the Raspberry Blitz, there would not be any onboarding, right? And I think the Lightning Network conference then will also be that, but I think also focus a bit more on the onboarding side. Or
I'm not really too sure, because the conference is not going to be super huge, so we're looking at 400 participants. So I think it will be mostly still a conference for developers, hardcore users, enthusiasts, the people that are actually building the Lightning Network, not necessarily the users. Of course, there's no opposition to any users, but it's really, from my experience, it's better to have a focused community, not let everybody in, and that's also why we did kind of a we had to pay with Lightning for the Hackday, not because we made money on that, it was like €5, but because at the time, right now, if you can pay with Lightning, you have already dedicated a bunch of time and education towards understanding it, and being able to use it is enough that I wouldn't consider you like a noob anymore, but you have like at least advanced to level 1, and I think that's part of why it worked so well, because you really have to kind of make it pre-select your audience, and sometimes in meetups you get a very wide audience, but then you have the chance that the quality is not as high level as you would hope for, and there's a lot of people who are really knowledgeable and who are really smart, and I just feel it's fair to them to also give them a good, knowledgeable, interested audience instead and not waste their time asking questions or answering questions which you can have an answer to if you Google it for like 10 minutes, like what is Bitcoin? And I think there's place for these questions, and there's events and meetups for these kind of questions. But right now, I personally want to make the Lightning events more about people who have already, who are really interested in it, and not answer why Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is important, and I want to build on this, and I want to drive this forward, and I want to contribute something. And I'm not going to bother all these smart people that take the time to fly in for a weekend by asking my concern troll questions, or maybe even honest Snoopy questions. But this is not the right place, in my opinion.
Yeah, very much agree. And again, we are in the still very, very early days, not just of Bitcoin, but especially in the Lightning Network. So here to have a well-curated list of speakers and attendees, I think is very valuable, especially for such an interactive use case like the Hackdays, right, where everyone is actually working on something.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we actually can announce this yet, But I mean, for the very technical side, there might be something that we're working on here for bringing a very technical Socratic seminar meetup here to Berlin as well.
Oh, I thought we just did announce it. No, we can announce it.
We can announce it. Perfect.
Did you zoom out?
I probably did. No, but well, I mean, not the Lightning conference.
No, I'm talking about. Oh, you can say it if you want.
Well, the Core Dev meetup, right?
Maybe we should have talked about this before. No, I think we're going to call it BitDevs Berlin.
BitDevs Berlin,
which is inspired by BitDevs New York City, and they have this wonderful Socratic seminar, which is I knew about it for a while, but I attended the first time after Magical Crypto Conference this year in New York, and just blew my mind again. It was. And I think that's what's missing in Berlin, Germany, and also in Europe. Like having a regular place to discuss all these things happening on the technical side, but in person, having somebody to explain it to you, somebody knowledgeable like you, and so we're working on that and setting it up, and you're going to be a co-host, which is cool, and. We have another co-host, which I already reached out to, and I don't want to announce it right now because we still have to settle it. I don't want to kind of overwhelm her without having talked back and forth. But we have another really knowledgeable co-host who is a great coder, and she'll be able to offer a lot of insight and also facilitate the learning process we're going to have together as well. Yeah.
And I really personally appreciate these Socratic seminars because I think it's a very efficient way of learning a lot in a very short time. Because it's rather small groups, right? Maybe 20 people?
Well, it depends on the turnout. It really depends. We see. We see.
And then a very, not just a frontal talk where the teacher shares the knowledge and the students can accumulate this, but actually in a way that the teacher, of course, gives new knowledge into the room, but then also provides, let's say, well thought out questions to the students so that they can actively try to discover how to solve these problems that are being discussed.
Yeah, or that, and also I believe everybody kind of is the teacher on some subject matter, and everybody's a student on some subject matter. So I wouldn't assume, and I think that's also sort of the biggest fear people have, like being a host or moderator. It's and I wouldn't exclude myself. It's just I want to teach everybody, but I also need people to teach me, and I don't want to look dumb. But I don't know everything, and there's people who know a lot, but I would also assume not everybody knows everything. So you have very knowledgeable audience members who probably can contribute a lot and explain a lot, and also very knowledgeable hosts. And it was hopefully this will spread the knowledge even more, and in a way where it's kind of a collaborative learning effort. It's and a little bit like the Lightning Hackday as well.
Really?
Just because we kind of have to, all this crazy expanding knowledge, we kind of have to get it condensed and try to give it to people. Otherwise, it doesn't get lost, and people can build on it, and it's important to have something.
I think especially the Barcamp meetups or rooms in the Lightning Hackday were really pretty much such this, because I, for example, did one about my bachelor thesis about Lightning Network multi-signatures, and that's a topic that is fascinating, and I've researched it, so I know rather a lot of it, but still I have many unanswered questions. And so I get there in this room, many smart people, many core contributors, many Lightning contributors, really smart people, and then I can show what I've learned already and share this knowledge, and then get their feedback on this, on how they see it, what other information they think is valuable, where maybe I have a mistake or where my thinking is not as precise. And then in a really constructive dialogue and a conversation really with several people together to learn and to grow. That is extremely powerful. So this event, BitDevs, that is really tailor-made for such a thing, I think is great.
Yeah, so we just have to fix the date now.
Okay, no,
but not without my calendar.
Now we're on record with this, so we can no longer back out. Damn it.
Oh,
we have to do it.
Wait. Just because you're on record, that doesn't mean you have to do it, right? Oh no, we actually are.
No,
okay.
we promised. Damn it. Okay.
Well, Good luck to you.
Oh,
To us.
fantastic! That's going to be fun. That's like making an ICO, right? And then raising a bunch of money. Then no, with ICOs you actually don't have to deliver anything. Well, okay.
It's like reverse ICO.
It's a reverse ICO. We actually have to do it now.
Do it first, and maybe I don't think this is ever going to make money.
No.
Just going to create knowledge.
Yep. Which is much more powerful. So, yay.
Okay, cool. Pretty excited about that. So, yeah, we should do it rather soon.
Yeah. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah. We announced it.
Fantastic. Okay, Jeff. We've talked about the Lightning Hack Days. We've talked about the Lightning conference,
yeah.
yes, and the BitDev in Berlin. So, what else is there? Any last words?
I think that's enough for today,
right?
isn't it? I mean, we can. We meet again.
Yes, we will at one of these awesome next events. Fantastic.
So,
where can the people find you?
On Twitter, preferably at Fulmo Lightning, and yeah, just shoot if you have any questions.
What Twitter did you have before Lightning?
I wasn't on Twitter before.
Outrageous.
I did. I managed a couple of corporate accounts. So, yeah, that's how I like.
Well, but actually, probably Bitcoin Twitter only emerged around 2016, 2017, where it really started traction. Right before then, there were other forums, like mainly Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit, right? and Bitcoin Talk and.
So probably Bitcoin Twitter is not that old, probably.
Not too old, no.
Okay. Oh. Good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Then all the websites are in the description down below. Piers, thank you very much here for joining us again, and of course, thank you for coming here on the show and sharing all this awesome knowledge.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, Piers. See you on the next show. Bye bye.
Cheers.